So I really cannot cook or bake worth a damn, but who cares? Who cares? We're gonna do it anyway. I am Dami. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, if you've been here, hey, welcome back. Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hi, I'm really glad to have you here. Today I am going to bake. I'm gonna bake some sweet potato brownies. I saw this recipe on TikTok and it looks so delicious because I'm really trying to, you know, make sure I'm eating good, I'm eating right. A sweet potato brownie sounds right up my alley, so I'm gonna try to make it as I talk about something that I feel is important to talk about, something that I'm currently going through and experiencing. I want to talk about how to master loneliness while you're in the void. And what I mean by the void is somewhat of a liminal space, okay? The void is when you're in a space between an old and new life. There's been some changes happening. Perhaps you went through a breakup. Perhaps you're intentionally taking some time to isolate, to heal. Perhaps you are changing jobs. Perhaps you moved. Like me, you're in the process of starting a new way of life, doing new things, meeting new people, right? But you haven't actually fully stepped into that new life yet. So you might be spending a lot of time by yourself. And as a person who spends a lot of time by herself, partly because I want to, but also partly because I did just move and a lot changed in my life last year. So I'm just in this space where I'm just lone wolfing right now in a lot of ways. After many years of having a very full and active social life, even a romantic life. And I'm using this time to lock in on who I am now, the new version of me, what I like to do, what interests me, what brings me joy, what fills me up, right? So in this video, I'm gonna talk about some very specific things you could do if you're spending a lot of time alone and the loneliness is kind of getting to you. Take notes if you want, or don't take notes if you don't want. I really don't care. Just vibe. All right, so let me look up the TikTok. Hold on, let me get my ingredients. Alrighty, I got my sweet potatoes. I got my bowls. I think I'm gonna just use the bigger bowl. I'm gonna use the big bowl. I'm collecting the stuff and I didn't even look at the recipe. I'm just trying to remember what she put on there. This was in the recipe. These were definitely in the recipe. Maple syrup and some honey. I got 2 things of honey, but okay. Oh, I wonder if I could put, never mind. I got like a billion screenshots that I'm probably never gonna look at again. Like, girl, and I took the screenshot of the recipe a long ass time ago and I can't even find it. Wait, I got my little eggs. My little Nellie's free range eggs. Wait a minute, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix all the dry ingredients first. So the first thing you should do in order to not get too wrapped up into the feelings of loneliness is to use the time to self-reflect, okay? Because you're not mastering loneliness if you don't self-reflect. Some people literally never ever think about themselves. Some people don't really take the time to reflect on their experiences and how their experiences have possibly impacted them, how they responded to those experiences. They don't think about what they want or why they want that. Some people live life on like autopilot. When you live life like that, that's how you end up repeating the same kinds of patterns and getting yourself into the same kind of situations over and over and over and over again. People talk about journaling as if it's like overrated and stuff like that, and like, while I don't particularly journal that often, not gonna lie, I talk to myself a lot. Like, I'd be in this house talking to myself all day. Maybe that's a little bit insane. Maybe there's a particular diagnosis for that, but Either way, I don't care because it does what I need it to do, right? And it helps me work through my thoughts, work through my perspective, and ponder other perspectives. Instead of like writing down my thoughts or journaling, I do tend to prefer to vocalize things. So I'll make video diaries in my phone. I'm already getting dirty. I don't even have an apron here. This is my first time baking anything in my new space. Being alone is prime time to really get into the inner depths of what's going on in your brain, what's going on in your mind. Even if it's as simple as, shit, how am I feeling today? Talk about that, write about that. Talk about, what am I scared of right now? What's really bothering me today? How did it make me feel when my mom said that thing the other day? That's how you get to know yourself better. That's how you get to know, who am I really inside when nobody's around me, when nobody's influencing me, when nobody has input. Even if you just do a little bit of self-reflection every day, you'll be light years ahead of a lot of people. 6 tablespoons, girl. Oh, but I wonder if I could have gotten like a different kind of flour, like almond flour or something. Maybe that would have been better for my stomach, because my stomach be acting up. When I have too much like wheat and gluten, my stomach be acting up for real. Okay, the next thing you should do in your loneliness is choose a hyperfixation. And I know that sounds a little bit off because usually most people don't want a hyperfixation, but like hyperfixations can be healthy if you want them to be healthy. Am I right or am I right? And you could say like hyperfixation, you could say hobby, you can describe it however you want to, but like pick something to focus on. Pick something to focus on that's going to make you happy, that's going to improve your life in some kind of freaking way. And it literally can be anything. I can remember my homegirl telling me after she had a breakup, she like taught herself how to juggle or some shit. I was like, wow, that's such an obscure kind of talent to have, just to pull out of your hat that you can juggle. My current hyperfixation is learning to do mashups on my DJ app on my laptop. But I really want to get like a DJ board, like a DJ setup. But until then, I'm just playing around with my app just to explore, just to learn how to actually do something like that. And it's really been so much fun. You could hyperfixate on research. You could read a bunch of articles. You could start a magazine collection. You know, like you could literally do anything. You know, just as long as you're comfortable with pouring a lot of time into that thing. Because if you're not spending time with people out in the world, then you might as well be spending time doing something cool. You could even hyperfixate on how to learn to do taxes, okay? And then next thing you know, you got a side hustle. You feel me? Next thing you want to do is romanticize your routine. I know that's talked about online a lot as like self-care, you know, make sure you do your like skincare routine and all of the cute little things, right? But I'm really not talking about like self-care as like products and objects, right? Romanticize your day-to-day mundane routine, like what time you wake up, how you wake up, what you do right after you wake up. If you do some yoga in the morning, do some stretches. If you like to play soft music or something like that. If every day on your lunch break you like to go to the same spot to eat, you know, like all of those things are unique to you and you should romanticize them. They should be something that feels good to you, something that you're excited to wake up and do every day. I used to not even have a routine, like I would just be doing anything, and I found that it made me really dysregulated. And it's not even like my day has to be strict or timed on schedule every single day, but as long as I have some like anchor things that I do, some anchor routines, that really makes me feel good, and it makes me just happy to be existing. I get to care for myself in this way, that I get to take time with myself, that I get to keep my own promises to myself, that every day I do this thing that makes me feel good. Next thing you should do is challenge yourself to do something hard, whether it's like once a week or once a month. Choose something that you're a little bit scared of, not like traumatized by, but just a little nervous about, and test yourself on a regular basis. Be intentional about, hey, I'm gonna try to do this thing today. Like if you're not comfortable with going places by yourself, challenge yourself to take yourself out to eat and dine in one night. Or if you don't like to talk to people on the phone, call up somebody you haven't talked to in a while. I think that was 6 tablespoons, but I kind of lost count. Damn. Oh well. I have my maple syrup. Okay. Then I'm gonna do the honey. And doing this like challenging yourself thing is not about reaching perfection or like trying to reach a place where you're just never scared of anything ever. But it's more so about building tolerance and building confidence for hard things, which I feel is important to do when you have more than enough time on your hands. And it's a very important skill. Most people don't even think to challenge themselves like this because they get distracted. They start to, you know, hang out all the time and have fun all the time and kind of distract themselves from the parts of themselves that they don't like. When you're constantly socializing and around people, or you're always in a relationship, you know, there's not a lot of time to focus on you, to come up with new coping skills and learn new ways to navigate. The way I'm losing count of these tablespoons should really be studied, because I don't think that I'm very great at talking and doing an activity at the same time. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it's just gonna be me eating them, so that don't even matter. Okay, but let me open the other one up though. The next thing you should do is designate time to feel lonely or mourn things about your old life, right? Because it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel lonely sometimes. It's literally okay. Like, it's a normal human feeling, all right? But the thing is that we don't want to get ourselves into a space where we're dwelling on the negatives, because it's not all negative. There are moments where you will feel lonely, like you have nobody or isolated. What's important is to just let yourself feel that, because if you have enough to do and if you have enough interest, then the feeling is gonna go away eventually. Even if it comes back a few times or it comes back late at night all week, you know, eventually it's gonna subside. It'll go away by the time you wake up, or the next time you do something fun for yourself, you know? So the times where I do feel a little bit overwhelmed with like sad feelings of, oh my God, I haven't hung out with my friend in a few weeks, or, you know, I let myself feel that. I just sit with that. I just sit with that feeling, and then I'll go and like give myself a sweet treat, or come up with some YouTube content, or go and play on my DJ app or something like that. And by that time, I already feel so much better. I think it gets worse when you're trying to avoid feeling sad so much, and you just push down the sadness, push down feeling, until eventually they just keep building until you get to a point where it feels unbearable. You don't want to get to that point, so you might as well just face the feeling whenever it pops up, because it's okay. Next thing you should do is set a goal for when you really do want to re-emerge back into socializing more, going to more places, or simply just talking to more people. Especially if you're isolating intentionally for a purpose. You should pick a time or a moment where you will feel ready to get back into the swing of life. And you'll feel better about getting back into the swing of life when you've already felt fine when you were alone. But before you re-emerge back into the world, right, you should already have thought about or planned out what kind of connection that you want in your life moving forward? What kind of dynamic do you really want to be a part of? Also consider, were there some connections and dynamics in your old life that caused you harm or pain and you don't want to repeat that? Do you want new kinds of friendships? Do you want wider friendships? Do you want deeper friendships? Do you want to get back into casually dating, or do you want to date for marriage, or do you just not want to talk to anybody at all? You know, because that's okay too, because your connections are going to shape the quality of your life. Now, when we're isolated, only we're controlling what's going on in our lives, right? So not a lot of stuff really has the time or space to invade, right? But once you intentionally put yourself back into the world, you're now making yourself vulnerable to all of these people, right? But you can choose what kinds of people you're vulnerable to. I've had some really interesting stretches of isolation throughout my life. For a period of time in college, I got really sick with a staph infection. And I had to kind of drop out of school, you know, because I was in school out of state. So I had to like drop out because I was in so much pain and I was sick. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So my parents literally came and got me from school and took me home. Once I got home, I was in the hospitals and had surgeries and all types of stuff. Like I was in a very difficult and dark space. I was very alone, isolated. All of my friends that I made in college were still at school in another state. So I didn't know anybody where I lived. I didn't have any friends out there. And I was really wanting connection, right? So I was kind of going to somewhat of like desperate measures to connect. And looking back on it, like it makes sense that I would feel desperate. Also, in that state of desperation, I wasn't meeting the right kinds of people. I was meeting the wrong kinds of people, okay, which caused me even more poor outcomes. And right now, I'm in a time in my life where a lot of positive things are happening for me. I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm feeling good, but I am in this space where like, I'm in a new town, I'm in a new house, I don't have any friends out here near where I live. Also thinking about like how far I am from the places I used to like to hang out at and go to, and the friends I used to have, we all fell out. I have like 3 homegirls left. They're all far from me. So now I'm just getting used to me just having a totally different life than I had before. I like it, but then I do think about the old version of me that was always outside, always partying, always doing something, always skating, always, you know, in something, just having a ball, even if I was in some ways kind of trying to distract myself from my pain. Now, I'm not doing that, and I want to use this time alone to pour into myself as much as I can for when I do end up meeting new people and I have time to do more stuff and to go out more and socialize more, then I'll be doing it from a wholesome space and not from a desperate to connect space, which can definitely influence the quality of your relationships. The way I really didn't lock in on any of this that I was making, I only like measured out the dry ingredients and I did the honey and the maple syrup. Next I got to add the eggs in, but I got to cook the sweet potato. Child, anyways. So tell me, are you in a season of isolation? And are you in it because you want to be in it, or because that's just how your life is laying right now? And how do you feel about it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? If you're watching this video at all, you're probably conflicted about it. I just wanted to make you feel better. I'm here for community healing, okay? Well, that's literally all I wanted to talk about. Like, just wanted to do something quick. Wanted to do something a little bit interactive, but I really do gotta focus on what I'm doing here if I want to do it right, because I will mess something up quickly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the end results, all right? Stay with me. But until then, that's it for my Bake With Me chit chat, how to master loneliness while you're in the void. I hope you enjoyed. I had fun. As always, stay gorgeous, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna put them in the oven for 45 minutes. It's interesting looking, but we move. Okay. Oh. I'm gonna make sure y'all get a picture of them at the end. Take her through that, take her through that. Yeah, now I gotta clean up. Bye. Okay.